live. I have no idea how many people are going to catch it. So we're doing a couple experiments today. We're going to see if, first of all, if people want to see lives more during the week, or when we usually do it on Sundays is going to do better. But the other thing that I really want to ask everyone is, we did a video all about Camarillo, and I kind of made it shorter and more to the point. I didn't feel like I went really in depth and really shared all of my knowledge about the subject, right? And that was kind of on purpose because I feel like I ramble. So what we're going to try to find out today is if you guys prefer the long form, in-depth, everything I know kind of format, or if you prefer the short version. I'm also wondering if you guys prefer me to do these area tours live like this, or if you prefer me to do it as a weekly video like we did. So if you guys have feedback, I would love that. I'm very curious about which way is going to work best. And, past that, just like every other live, we're going to be hanging out, we're going to be talking. We're going to really be looking at just Camarillo and what makes it special and what's going on. And if you have real estate questions afterwards, let me know. We'll circle back to it at the end. But we're going to try to keep the bulk of this material about Camarillo. So we're obviously not driving around Camarillo today. We're in the office, right? So we're going to be doing a sky view. So when we push buttons and make the screen work, where are we at here? I want to share that one. So when we look at Camarillo, or when we look at our map, let's start with just the map, right? We kind of get all of this kind of stuff. And one of the things that's going to make this discussion a little bit wonky is that Camarillo is kind of unique, okay? So if we look at just Camarillo, California, according to the map, it's going to do this. Now, while technically that is the city limit, and technically that's correct, and I guess technically correct is correct, right? Most people that go into and around Ventura County base cities on the 101 exits here, okay? So obviously off the 118, we have SOMIS and all kinds of other stuff. But along the 101 and debatably the 34 doesn't really do anything. That's just like, it's there, but it's not like a lifeblood road, okay? So almost everyone's on the 101. So to most people, everything from basically the grade, starting at Camarillo Springs, which is right around here somewhere, until you hit Oxnard, is Camarillo, okay? So while this is kind of the map, the actual map, right, the official city map, I would argue that Camarillo looks more like this, including Santa Rosa. And I know there's going to be some Santa Rosa people here that get really upset and say they're not part of Camarillo, but you are. You're basically Camarillo. Unless you're in Santa Rosa, everyone knows you as Camarillo, right? So it's really this area. Now, granted, all of the homes are mostly here. There's some in Santa Rosa. There's obviously some in the hills here. But when we're talking about Camarillo, we're going to be looking at this whole area and not just the city. Because like California State Channel Islands, everyone says that's in Camarillo, right? Because that's the nearest city, even though it's technically not. All these farms are really Camarillo, even though technically not. Santa Rosa Valley, it's kind of in a weird spot because away from stuff. You could kind of argue it's its own thing, but there's no stores there. There's no there's nothing there. So it's its own thing, but I think most people would agree it's part of Camarillo. Okay. So now that we've kind of established where Camarillo is, at least to me, well, actually step back for a second. Why do I know these areas? Well, I've grown up in Ventura County, right? I grew up right here in Newbury Park, the next city over, the closest city you can get to Camarillo, at least to the east. And I went to school at Cal State Channel Islands, so I've spent a lot of time in Camarillo. Camarillo is probably, I don't know if it's my favorite city in Ventura County. I would have to say it's a toss-up for me between Camarillo and Ventura, probably. But I like that Camarillo's a little bit warmer, like it's got better weather, but like Ventura beaches are really nice. So regardless, I would say that Camarillo is one of my top two favorite cities to live in. Okay. So what is in Camarillo? What makes Camarillo special? Well, again, we've got this grade. So there's this chunk of road right here going up the 101, and there's very often traffic, and this grade really makes the difference in the county. It really splits our county into East and West County. Okay. Um, if you live down in Camarillo, Oxnard, Ventura, you can obviously go up into Thousand Oaks relatively often, but most people really don't. Most people tend to live their lives either up the grade or down the grade. The traffic on the grade is pretty horrendous, especially at normal times of day, like 8 o'clock when people are going to work and 5 or 6 o'clock when people are getting off of work. Um, and just in general, it's not something that people go up and down every day. There's always exceptions for people that commute. I got people that work for me that commute. Um, but in general, the folks that are down the grade tend to stay down the grade. Okay. And there's a couple big reasons for that. The grade is a big deal. It keeps all of the heat, because like we've got Los Angeles, right? Like this is hot and the heat dies as soon as you go down the grade. So the temperature difference between like Thousand Oaks and Camarillo can be like 10 degrees, especially in the summer on hot days. Um, and then when you keep going east, like sometimes it's been socked in and cloudy and horrible in Ventura, but it's sunny in Camarillo. So Camarillo gets more sun than Thousand Oaks does. It gets more sunny days, but the temperature is more mild. Okay. And as you keep heading out this way, you're going to get fewer and fewer and fewer sunny days. You're not going to get too crazy of weather because the ocean kind of keeps everything moderate, but you're going to get a lot more cloudiness, gloominess, socked in ocean weather as you head out to the west. So Camarillo probably, at least in my opinion, has the best weather in the whole county. Um, on that same note, there are some downsides. Okay. So when we're going over all the cities, there's a couple things I want to cover. First of all, there's fire and flood in every city in the county. Okay. Typically for fire, you're going to have higher insurance if you're against the mountains. So when we're talking like homes like this, where you can see a lot of green, or actually if we change the view, yeah. So if you're near the green, you're probably gonna have really expensive fire insurance, right? If you're in town, your fire insurance is gonna be less. Now I'm not gonna say that Camarillo doesn't get fires, but it doesn't get fires, at least in my experience, anything like they get out in like towards Malibu and in LA. Like this area really burns, right? But Camarillo doesn't really get as scared of fires as they do here. And like out in Ventura, they really burn. So Camarillo usually gets kind of spared from the fires. Again, it's not to say that there's never fires there, but they get less. They're spared of it more. Okay. Um, where did my buttons go? Just open up the chat to make sure that I can see if anyone's saying anything. So Camarillo generally doesn't really get as crazy fires. They don't get as crazy of floods, like anything more than most of Ventura County. But there is one noteworthy spot for flooding, and that's going to be Camarillo Springs. Let's see if this works. Springs. Yeah, so as we get right into this Camarillo Springs community, it's this little one right here. They used to be on the news like every single time we got a drizzle. Every time we got a drizzle, they basically would say that there's catastrophic flooding. Some of the homes here do have flood damage that you got to look out for, especially if it hasn't been bought or sold since those floods. But that's really the only area that I'm aware of that has any type of flooding. And when we're looking at like some of the more significant things that I worry about, those are going to be super fun sites. So super fun sites, super fun. I always call them super fun because that's what we called it in college because we were studying ecology and like super fun. The ecology is horrible, right? There are super fun sites across Ventura County. The most noteworthy are going to be the one out in Bell Canyon, and then there's a couple out in Oxnard, like the Halico Pile. But there's nothing like that in Camarillo, so we don't have to worry about that. In terms of earthquakes, we do have some fault lines. So I tried to look it up. I couldn't confirm it. Back when I was in college, my professors told me that Old Town is Old Town because it's on a fault line, and Old Town is that right here? Where's Old Town at? Old Town Camarillo. Just want to make sure I'm pointing you guys in the right direction. That did weird things. Where's my Old Town at? Let's see. Edwards, Ventura. We got Georgia Alone. My goodness, I lost my bearings. There's Wood Ranch. Let's look up what's it called? Topa Topa. Old Town, right? Yeah. So I'm not reading you guys too far off. So there is a fault line right in here. At least according to what my professor said. I tried to verify before I went live. I could not make sense of the maps. I'm not very good at looking at maps without streets and figuring out where it's at. So we do have some noteworthy fault lines across Camarillo. So the shaking, if we get a big earthquake, will be more significant, especially in areas that are historical. Typically, historical stuff out here, not always, but typically, if something is historical, it's usually because it's on a fault line. That's the main reason they haven't upgraded it or updated it. If it's I mean, sometimes it's just because it's historical and they can't update the building, right? But most of the time, when you see historical stuff, it's because it can't be updated, usually because of fault lines. So they do have a little bit more shakiness and earthquakes than a lot of the county, but specifically right in here on Old Town is my understanding. So be a little bit mindful of earthquakes, and if you're moving to Camarillo Springs, be a little bit mindful of flood. But past that, the risks out here are far, far lower than most of the rest of the county. One thing that you want to really look out for when you're looking at houses across this entire county is because the climate has historically been so mild. You want to make sure that the house you're looking at has air conditioning. Okay. Not all the houses out here have air conditioning. It's a really common thing. And again, it's because it didn't used to ever get hot. We have been hotter in the last few years, right? So now people are starting to want it more. We're starting to see more upgrades and updates, but a lot of the homes, especially older homes, don't have any air conditioning. You might have to install it if you are looking at picking up the house. So as we're looking at this city of Camarillo, right? We've got a lot going on. So what makes Camarillo really, really cool, at least to me, is that they have some of the most luxurious and some of the most affordable housing across the entire county. A lot of people think of Oxnard or of Santa Paula as being the most affordable. They're not really. I would argue that a lot of other cities have more affordable stuff, but I think that Camarillo has the most affordable living in the county, depending on what you're looking at. So when we're talking really noteworthy communities, the first and most important is going to be Leisure Village, Camarillo. Okay. So when it comes to senior living, there's this community right here. And the reason I bring up senior living as part of like affordable living is because these homes are far cheaper than a comparable home, not in a 55 plus community. And this is probably the biggest one. I think my line's too big. I think it should be across this road here. So it's all of this right here. It's a huge, huge, huge community. It's it is the biggest 55 plus community in the county. It's affordable, it's newer, it's nice, it's amazing. That's going to be one of the biggest and most important communities in Camarillo. So we do have a very strong senior community, especially if you're in these stores and things. You'll notice the average age is a little bit higher, right, than a lot of the county. And they're amazing because they have so many amenities. So if you're 55 plus and you're even remotely on a budget, or you just want to have really cool community activities all the time, this is the place to be, right here in Leisure Village. But in terms of affordability for everyone else, there's the Wickford townhomes. Is it going to pull up? No, that didn't work. We lost it. Wickford. There we go. So we have the Wickford townhomes out in here. Those are some of the most, well, they're affordable housing, and they're some of the most affordable in town. which is really, really cool. Their prices are, I'm not going to go over prices in too much detail because it's going to change. It always changes. So this way people can watch it later, but it is one of the most affordable communities around. You also have Village Park, which is super, super affordable. Was that going to pull up? Village Park properties. That's like, yeah, it's gonna have a hard time pulling. It's not pulling it up on the map, but it's. But we also have Village Park, which is also affordable housing. So they have two affordable housing communities. They're both really, really good. Um, in terms of affordability, there is also some of the most affordable manufactured homes in the whole county. I don't know where exactly the communities are at without typing them in and looking them up. I think this is one of them right here. Yeah, Camarillo Mobile Estates. Some of the manufactured homes in Camarillo are under $100,000 for certain communities. Granted, the HOA is a little bit high, but the homes themselves can be basically as cheap for under 55. Okay, I'm gonna stop that for a second. There's a better way to say that. Most manufactured home parks are either 55 plus and super, super affordable, or not, or for everybody, right? They're not 55 plus and their prices are much, much higher. So in terms of not 55 plus manufactured home communities, these are some of the cheapest entry out of anywhere in the county. Okay. So barrier of entry to Camarillo is about the best out of anywhere in the county. I would argue even more than Fillmore and other areas that people kind of think of as being more affordable. Um, but that keeping that in mind, most of the community, it's kind of fuzzy right there. Most of the community, right, is not in those specific little communities. We've got a lot of normal stuff going on. So, the average home price is less than it is when we go up the grade into Newbury Park and Thousand Oaks. It's a little bit more than Oxnard, but I think it's worth it. You get a little bit better weather. You've got a lot of other really cool benefits and cool things in town. So, for a couple of the normal communities that I think are really, really cool, there is, did I save the name? I didn't save the name. Lakeside Village. I love Lakeside Village. Is that gonna do it? Yeah, there we go. So there is this little community right here on the lake, and this is probably one of my favorite communities in the whole county. Um, it's, I mean, it's like a mini version of Westlake. It's super, super cool, and you'd never even know it. When I went to college, I didn't even know this was here, and I went to the Jack in the Box and the IHOP here all the time, and I had no idea this community was on a lake. And there's a couple of other small condo complexes and condo communities that are also on little lakes like that, or little creeks, little rivers, whatever you want to call them, that are super, super, super cool. In terms of noteworthy things in the county, we've got a couple of areas for shopping that are amazing. We have the Camarillo Premium Outlets, which are just it's a great day to be outside and walk around and see all kinds of stores. Many of them are higher end, but not all. Some of them are more moderate. But it's just a beautiful place to be outside and walk around. They decorate for Christmas, and if you know me, you know that that's important to me, right? Having the really good Christmas decorations. And then there's also the Old Town Camarillo, which again is the same kind of thing. Let me see. Actually, is this gonna let me? Oh, this is gonna let me do this. So the outlets are just big and open. You can just go from store to store to store. Um, so it's great for shopping, great for entertainment. There's movies, there's all kinds of other events. Um, so you're definitely not like rural, right? Like when we're looking at a couple of the different cities on this list, it's going to be much more rural than this. On the other hand, you have Old Town, and when we look at Old Town, it's going to be very, very similar. Let me see, am I in the right spot? I think I'm in the right spot. Yeah. It's going to be very, very similar to the outlets in that it's outdoors. You can walk from store to store to store to store. If you go to one group, we're going to pretend they're not there. They're not the same as us. You know what I mean? We're the good real estate company. But the Old Town is amazing, and there's so many cool things here. Actually, for me and my group here at EXP, there's a couple of my favorite restaurants in the whole wide world here. Right here on the corner is the 2088, and that's just delicious fine dining. It's amazing. And when you get a little bit further down the road here, you get to Topa Topa Brewing Company. What was this? This might be a little old. Let me see. Nope, right here. We get to Topa Topa Brewing Company, which is a great little pizza place, and there's ice cream and beer here. It's fantastic for the whole family. It's where us at EXP for Ventura County, we meet there once a month and hang out and get pizza and have a good time. So lots and lots of fond memories for me on this street. Many great places to dine and lots of entertainment and all kinds of other good stuff. And I would be completely I couldn't forgive myself if we went down this street and I didn't point out at least two more places. So we've got I gotta go a ways here. Let's just do one more place. One of the places amazing on this street. Well, okay, here it is. So for insurance, State Farm, they're fantastic. They're the guy that owns that office there in Old Town is a great friend of mine. And then also as a kind of historical college memory here. Where'd we go? Twisted Oak. Is it further down? It's further down. I cannot count how many times I've gotten food over at the carniceria here at the end. Some of the best food you'll ever get. On the other end, there's Ola. So Establos Meat Market, great place for, I mean, if you just need a butcher or if you're looking for some burritos, it's a great place to stop for lunch. And kind of a little tiny celebrity place here. Bone Deep Tattoos is where I think every single college student Channel Islands goes to get their tattoos. So it's a really important street to our community. And that isn't to say that that's all there is to do. There's shopping throughout the count or throughout the city. There's all kinds of stuff from Trader Joe's and the shopping centers over here. I mean, there's so much going on. In-N-Out Burger, there's just nonstop stuff. But in terms of like if you're gonna go and sit somewhere, those two malls, the mall and the Old Town Camarillo are the two main places. Also, as kind of a must see is Rolling Pin Donuts. Rolling Pin Donuts is I want to say it's one of the most, if not the most, liked on social media businesses in all of Ventura County. Their donuts are famous. Everyone loves them. So it's another place you don't want to miss if you're in town. All right, so let's step back for a second. And the other thing that makes Camarillo all just amazing is that some of the best beaches in town, not a lot of people go to the beach down here. Like it's not that you can't, but like Ormond Beach is, I mean, it's fine. But most people want to go to the beaches like over here at Channel Islands. So if you're going to like, it's an 11-mile drive. I mean, it's gonna be more than that because you're not doing a straight line, right? But you're reasonably 20 minutes from the beach. You're reasonably like 30 to 40, maybe 40 minutes plus to get into like LA, so it's pretty close to everything, but you're closer to the beach. So let's see. On the other hand, though, we do have some luxury housing. Okay, so when we're talking luxury, the two main areas that are really luxury is first of all Santa Rosa. So this whole community right here, there's this Santa Rosa in a weird spot because if you're coming from Thousand Oaks, you can kind of like get off on the 23 and like take the mountains down into Santa Rosa, and you can go through all of Camarillo to get into Santa Rosa. But it's kind of secluded. But a lot of these houses have land. Like, look at these houses. They've got a little orchard in their background or in their backyard, right? So this is one of the nicest communities in Ventura County, as far as I'm concerned. They have more space, they've got more land, and it's still luxury housing. Like if we were to just drop down here at a random spot and take a look, we really have upscale stuff. And while a lot of the houses are much more reasonable, I believe the most expensive home that's ever sold in Santa Rosa or in Camarillo in general, including like these kind of outlying areas, is around $5 million, which I know is a lot of money, but it's also a lot more reasonable than like Beverly Hills or Westlake, right? And you get a lot for it because these are big, beautiful houses, and again, a lot of them have like orchards in their backyard, usually avocados. And then the other kind of high end community, where am I at? We're over here. Is going to be over by the Spanish Hills Golf Club. All these homes around the golf club are really, really high end and really nice. And again, their prices get pretty up there. These are nice homes. So whether you're looking for luxury or if you're looking for budget, they've got everything in between in Camarillo. So it really is one of the most diverse and welcoming to a wide range of people, cities, compared to at least most of the county. So that's most of what I have about Camarillo is kind of a deep dive. So if you guys could do me a huge favor, and actually let's fix this. And if you guys have questions or comments about Camarillo, because we do have a couple folks watching, let me know. But how do I get my screen bigger here? There we go. So let me know. Do you guys kind of like a more slow walkthrough? Because this is like 30 minutes. Or do you prefer the short videos? Or should we just keep doing both? I don't know. I'm kind of looking for some advice on that front. It feels like the short videos are okay, but they don't really give you a good lay of the land. But it feels like these ones are almost too long. I don't know. So if you guys have any advice or if you want to learn more about Camarillo, let me know. In the meantime, we are going to be switching subjects next month, which is here in a couple days. This month was all about seniors. Next month is going to be, I believe, about bank-owned properties, foreclosures, that kind of stuff. I've been kind of debating because I was thinking about talking about second homes and vacation homes because it's summer, but I think that we're just going to skip it this year and we're going to merge that with our Airbnb month next year. So let me know if you guys do want to know more about vacation homes, vacation rentals, that kind of stuff, or if you do want to know more about seniors and that stuff, because we are kind of getting away from that in future topics. It's not that I don't know about it. It's not that I don't love content on it. It's just that we have to kind of regulate what we're putting out. I'm trying to keep stuff fresh and give people a lot of new information if we can help it. And we're going to be covering different cities and all kinds of other stuff. So if you guys have any questions or anything to add about Camarillo, things that you think are super noteworthy, like the airport. I forgot about the airport. Don't forget to look at my helicopter video, right? I guess before we go, I'll point that out. There is a helicopter. There's an airport here in Camarillo. The airport is for local flights, so you can take helicopter rides like in the video that I did. And a lot of it's for agriculture and local small private planes. So it's not something you can like go to Camarillo Airport and fly to LAX or something like that. At least I don't think so. Can you do that? Maybe I'll ask my folks at the airport if you could do that. That'd be interesting. But so if you have any other things that we're missing besides the airport, let me know. Put it in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.